Hello, this is LaShonda from Cosmic Fiber Art. So today we're going to be doing a star granny bag, and of course if you have any questions let me know. So I'm going to be using my 5.5mm crochet hook from Clover, and I'm also going to be using a Caron jumbo skein, and it is in the color Blossom. Use a color pooling yarn, any yarn of your choice. Honestly, whatever you prefer would be great. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Leave them in the comments below. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to hear from you. I really would. So, and be nice to me, please. This is my first time. I decided to do a voiceover. So let's start with a slip knot. And this is going to be on our 5.5mm hook. You will need a 6mm later, like I put in the description. So we're going to start by chaining 3, and then we are going to slip stitch to the top of our chain 3. So like I said, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the top of our chain 3. Makes it a lot easier. If you know how to do a magic circle, do a magic circle, and then chain 1, 2, 3 one more time. And so what we're going to do is work into that hole inside of that chain 3 right there. And so we're going to do 2 more double crochets, like a cluster of 3, and then we are going to chain 2 and do 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, I'm going to pull my yarn. 2 and 3. We're going to do another, and then we're going to repeat that till we have a total of 5 clusters essentially. So we're going to do one more time till we get that 5 cluster mark. Editing LaShonda thinks I should have probably skipped to when I had this finished. But that's okay. And my tripod was super duper shaky. I'm trying to get another, so sorry if you see a little bit of shakiness in the meantime. But we're just going to reach to that 5 mark. And now, so looks like I have 4. One more, looks like. And so essentially what you do is when you reach to the 5 mark, which I'm trying to leave some of this here so you can actually see how long it actually takes me to do that, you would just essentially be slip stitching to the top of the chain 3 that we made after you make your cluster of 5. And please make sure that you count your clusters, because you have to have 5. This won't work exactly like a granny square, similar to a granny stitch, but not exactly, because there's 1 extra cluster. And if you do happen to put 4, it will mess up the stitch count, because you know a star has 5 sides. So keep that in mind. So 5 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excuse me. And then slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. So much happening right now, I know. I have no idea how this happened. Like, one of the stitches like randomly came loose, and so I was confusion for a while. All right, so we are back. So we are also going to turn our work every round as well. So now I am back at the top of the stitch, turning my work with a chain 2. Excuse me, not chain 2, 2 double crochets. And now we are going to work in every chain space, which is our corner, kind of like a granny square. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and that's going to go in every single corner stitch, just like with a granny square, how you do clusters. So it's going to be clusters of 3, and that's going to be our every single corner count will always be essentially 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet until the very last round. So I am just working all of my corners now. All right, so I have officially finished that. Now I'm going to work back into the beginning of my round, similar how you do a granny square. You do your last cluster in the first row. So do 3 double crochets and then chain 2, and then join at the top of the chain 3 that you did at the beginning of the round. Every round will begin with a chain 3, and then you will turn your work. And if you do not turn your work, your star will be curved and it will kind of get twisty. And so at this round, make sure you have 5 sides. I know I said it before, but there have been so many times where I've made this pattern and I thought that I counted right, but I got here and it was silly and it was weird and I was missing stitches and it was a whole thing. Alright, so now we are going to get to essentially like a repeat round. You're going to repeat the next round. You're going to chain 3, turn your work, and then in that same space, you are going to do 2 double crochets. And because this is like a granny pattern, at least at this point, we're going to, in the chain spaces, do 3 double crochets for this round. So in the corners, there are going to be 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and in the chain space, it's going to be 3 double crochets. So like a granny square, but just a little bit more, more corners essentially. It's a similar premise. You'll see what I mean in a moment here after I finish this up here. And sorry this video was so long. I'm still trying to figure out editing and stuff like that. And I am very much so a newbie trying to upgrade my software. So this is another corner I'm working. So 3 double crochet, chain 2. I'm going to do another 3 double crochet. And if you have any sort of tips for me too as a new tuber, this is not a term. I'm so sorry. New YouTuber. I'd love for you to provide them for me. And I'm so sorry. I do have eczema in my hands. So if you ever see any patches, that's just what that is. I always try to make sure that I moisturize my hands. So this is just me working to the end of the round. Every repeat is the same. 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet in the chain space, and then 3 double crochets in the middle spaces. And just work that all the way around to the end of the round. Okay, so once again, I still think you should always just try to count your rounds after this just to make sure you didn't flub up or anything. So this is the round where there are differences, but still chain 3 to start, turn your work. And so it's going to be 2 double crochets in that chain space. And now we are going to be working double crochets. Instead of in the gaps, we're no longer working in the gaps. So we are going to double crochet up until we get to that first 2 spaces in the second cluster. I will point them out to you. So double crochet in all the stitches. Do not crochet in the chain spaces for the middle parts of the square anymore. So now we've reached our stopping point. So these first 2 double crochets, this is how we make our peak for the star. We are going to skip them. So double crochet in the 3rd stitch of the cluster, so skip those first 2. And now double crochet. And this is going to be identical for the entire round, of course, for the star, but this is how we make our peak. How we make our star dip is a decrease, essentially, those 2 decreases. Excuse me. So we're going to skip those 2 spaces and then double crochet in the last stitch of the middle cluster, so double crochet, and then double crochet up into the chain space, and this is where we are going to do our increase. So the 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. And this will be identical for this entire round. So the second stitch, second cluster, we're going to skip those first 2. And I'm just going to show you that one more time just to make sure that it, hopefully it makes sense. And hopefully I'm in frame. I'm so sorry about that. Definitely trying to learn the YouTube game. Currently filming on my phone, so I don't have that super professional, super duperish camera. But once the funds become available, I will 1,000% upgrade to, take my YouTubing to a whole other level, because I love doing stuff like this. It's always so fun. So once again, we're just going to double crochet up until we reach that first stitch and the second part of the cluster. This is just me showing you the repeat, just like we did before. So it's like the middle stitch in between the increase stitch in the corner. So we're going to skip over that 2. So there it is. So after you skip over that first 2 and that cluster in the middle, the very middle cluster between both increases, skip the first 2 stitches, double crochet, and then you will double crochet up into the corners, and then you'll double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. Oh my god, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. Sorry, I'm tongue-tied. And that's the repeat for the entire round. And then you will join back into the top of the chain 2. And so this is essentially that entire thing. My yarn changed on me color-wise. So join at the top of the chain 2. And then 1, 2, 3, a chain 3. And then once again, we are going to turn our work. And just so this, you can see it's kind of starting to take form, like you see like the decreases. So it's going to be the same as before. So I'm going to 2 double crochet. Camera adjustment looks like what's happening. So we're going to double crochet, 2 double crochet here in this chain space. Kind of like our granny square. It's kind of like the thought. So we're just going to repeat that identical pattern. So double crochet up until 1 stitch before the dip, and this is how we're going to repeat every other round of this star. We are going to stop 1 stitch before that dip stitch, and I'm going to show you, well, it's not called a dip stitch, it's literally just a decrease. I'm sorry, I'm just making up things. Double crochet up until you get to that 1 missed stitch, and then you will skip 2 stitches, which will be the dip stitches in the middle. So essentially those 2 double crochets, you see them, 1 double crochet here, and then there's the other one right next to it. So those 2 stitches, you are going to skip over them and then double crochet into the stitch right after. So skip 1, skip 2, and then go into the one after. So it's always going to be that for every round of the star. And this is essentially the repeat for the star. But I am going to show you a little bit more of it, of course, so hopefully you get the hang of it. If you have any questions and maybe there's something I wasn't quite clear about, quite clear about, please let me know. But the repeat for this is identical until the last round, and you can honestly do this as many rounds as you want to do. I just kind of wanted like a medium-sized bag, some cute. And I am eventually going to try to get back around to making bags with more sturdiness to them. I just recently brought a sewing machine. I am going to try to learn how to add linings to them, essentially, is what I'm going to be doing. So yeah. So hopefully that makes sense there. So I'm just doing the repeat for the round. I'm sorry about that. Someone called me during a voiceover. Oh my god. So now I'm just showing it one more time. That repeat, skipping over those 2 stitches. This is essentially the repeat for the entire round, though. It's just, honestly, it's identical. There's no differences in the skips or the gaps. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. All of it is the same. Okay. Just keep going there. So now I have done that repeat a couple more times, and so I'm just showing how my rounds are and my repeats are. And so this is the very final end, and I went up to 8 rounds in total with a couple of rounds of those star shift repeats, gap stitches. So now I just single crocheted across the entire last round, and I did not skip any more stitches because I didn't want to make the dip anymore. I also want to kind of straighten out my round. You see like that. The single crochet, it does, tighten up the round. So I'm going back in because in my corner spaces, there will be no single crochet or chain spaces. So it's just going to be 4 double crochets into the chain space now. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's the chain space. And this is the repeat for this round. So single crochet across, and in those chain spaces, 4 single crochets. And that's it. Let's continue that here. And this is, you're just going to continue this until the end of your round, and repeat this, of course, on both of your star pieces. This is optional, this last round, but I feel like it kind of defines the shape of the star. So I honestly do find it to be necessary. You don't have to use a contrasting color like I'm doing, but you can. So it's kind of up to whatever you want your back to look like. So now I fastened off, I finished my round, and now this is going to be a sew in your ends round. Sew in your ends, girl or guy, theys, she's, whoever you are. Sorry if I forgot about you. Just weave in your ends. This is the weave in your ends round. Okay, that's out. And then line up your pieces, and you will need stitch markers for this. Well, you don't need them, but I just want to make sure they all line up. So I'm lining the ends on top of each other, laying them flat, getting stitch markers in between each gap space to make sure that they lay flat. And so now this is going to be us seaming them together. So which is going to just be a slip stitch. So inserting your hook for both ends. So here are the 2 bars from the first star. And the second set of for the second bar, and then pulling through and pulling through, and that's a slip stitch. And this is how I'm joining them. I'm going to be joining the star like this the whole way around, but leave 2 spaces open for your pocket, of course. The first time I did this, I did accidentally close the entire star, and I was not impressed with myself. Just throwing it out there. So however you want to do it, pretty much, as far as which sides. But yeah, I have this side tied off. I'm just going to show this one more time for you. And I got to another chain corner because I felt like it was kind of confusing. So if you know how to slip stitch, then this is not going to be a problem, because I'm literally just slip stitching this entire thing together. You can also seam this by sewing, whatever you want to do. If you want to slip stitch, I feel like that's the easiest thing. I feel like it reinforces it a lot more, and it won't make it bigger, like with like a double crochet or whatever. So insert your hook from end to end is essentially what I'm doing. And if you insert your hook from end to end, then we're going to yarn over and pull through the slip stitch. I'll show that one more time. Insert your hook from one end of the star. Make sure the star lines up. And that's from the other side. of the star that we're seaming together. If you can see, so 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, and then we're going to pull through all of the loops. And then, so there are 2 more, so pull through that way. If you need to do it in 2 steps, honestly, it helps me when I first started doing slip stitches. So I'm going to show it one more time. Insert to 4 loops, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through. And you're going to repeat that all the way around until you reach your pocket opening, which needs to be from 1 star corner to 1 star corner, essentially. And there's my pocket. I didn't want to make it too big. I'm also thinking about, the more I learn to sew, I'm thinking about maybe coming back around, adding a lining to this, removing the slip stitches, and, putting like a lining inside, or a zipper, or maybe even just making another yarn bag. Another star bag. I'm honestly not too sure. If I do decide to do that, of course I'll let you guys know, keep you in the know. Okay, so now we're going to do our strap. You can do like a linen stitch strap. You can do a chain strap, from whatever ends you want to do it in, but I do recommend it to be the pocket end, because this is just like an acrylic. It doesn't have like a lot of structure to it. So if you go from like starting from like the hook of this end, it might be kind of floppy. Like, it'll be cute though because the star will stand up straight, but I'm just going to do it from the tip here where my hook is now to the other end of the pocket, and I'm going to chain 135. So do whatever you will. So now I've done that, and I weaved in all of my ends from the strap, and there's my pocket from end to end for my star. She's cute. I don't know, maybe next time if I do this again, which I'm 1000% gonna, thinking about actually making like a full book bag or a different kind of purse, when I step up my cookies with my skills. Ew, sorry. When I turn into like a sewing girly, trying to do that. But yeah, and any end you want can face you. So here is the final product. Excuse me, I do have my jammies here, but here is the final piece, and I think it is so cute. And please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Bye!